love it.
Tell us when we're rolling. Give us a countdown.
I'm Jane, by the way. I don't know who met.
Leo, can you give us a countdown when you hit go?
Oh, we're live. We're live.
Touching me. Because why not?
Good thing what, Josh?
The different shades.
Yeah. That you don't have, huh?
They're in my car. I use them driving here. Just didn't, think about you.
All right, good morning, everybody.
Good morning.
Wonderful environment for us to all share in and opportunities for all Louisianans, and no carbon capture and sequestration. So those are some of the main things that we're thinking about that's motivating us to be out here today. And we've got a number of folks who are going to speak much more articulately than I on those themes. First will be Caitlin Joshua, the Gulf Coast organizer for Earthworks.
Yay. Thanks, Theo. I think you spoke eloquently enough. So my name is Caitlin Joshua. I work for a wonderful nonprofit called Earthworks, and I've been a resident of South Louisiana my entire life. I also do a lot around reproductive healthcare access in the Deep South, and most importantly, health outcomes. I love this place and I love the people in it. I get asked all the time. I love this place and I love the people in it. I get asked all the time from my friends and family not in the state, why are you wasting your youth in Louisiana? And my answer is always the same. My people built this place, so why should I be forced to leave? I'd rather stay and fight for a place that I love. Why should I have to give up Easter Sunday at Momo Kelly's house or my sister-in-law's in Gonzales? Spending Christmas and Thanksgiving and moonshine in St. James with the Joshuas, or getting some time on the lake with Mr. Bill, say we all do it for paid, helping our frontline partners and supporting them in stopping petrochemical build-out and advocating for clean air and clean water, something that we are all now fighting for up and down Cancer Alley. The industries are in our backyard, being proposed near our schools or under the lakes and waterways we enjoy in our spare times. Last week, I attended the Air Products hearing 3 days after packing the house with residents from all over South Louisiana who are fighting against the Air Products blue ammonia facility in Sorrento, a massive 5-parish project. It was said that this is a matter of weighing economic benefits against environmental impacts. However, several reports regarding the safety of the lake, the harm already done to fish and wildlife, and the risk associated with the project's close proximity to Sorrento Primary School have all been very jarring and deeply concerning. There's no right way to right-size this project. My opposition has absolutely nothing to do with Air Products supporting space for their families. I've spent years knocking on doors in the area and have meaningful conversation with employees of Air Products and other petrochemical facilities abroad. They welcomed me onto their front lawns, often still in their uniform, and spoken candidly about their work. But one thing comes up time and time again. No one wants us in their home, near their home, who depend on the health of the lake, who boat or fish there. No amount of money is enough to justify losing Lake Maurepas or the surrounding swamp. For those of us with family members, nieces, nephews, younger relatives at Sorrento Primary School, I cannot imagine the consequences of a leak or a rupture if that were to occur, displacing oxygen in the environment, because that's what it does, and potentially preventing emergency responders from even starting their engines to keep those out of danger. There are also the homes and neighborhoods already existing alongside the pipeline route. How will they be protected in this moment? And for what? This technology that has not been proven to work at scale anywhere in the world will never work. Air Products' own estimates of carbon capture have dropped significantly from 2021 to now, dropping as much as 25%. We are being asked to risk everything for very little benefit to our state and our local communities. My children deserve better, your children deserve better, their children deserve better, and most importantly, we've got to do the work to make sure we're holding the line on petrochemical build-out. Thank you for having us today, and we hope to see you in the fight.
Hello, everyone. Thank you, Caitlin. Great presentation. I'm Reagan Collins with the Deep South Center for Environmental Justice. I serve as the Director of Community and Partner Engagement. For more than 30 years, Deep South has stood with communities across Louisiana and the Gulf South, in the region also known as Cancer Alley. This 85-mile stretch between Baton Rouge and New Orleans is home to more than 200 industrial facilities. In some communities here, the cancer risk from industrial air pollution runs up to 50 times the national average. This is EPA data, and it reflects livid. In the same context, Louisiana residents are being asked to accept carbon capture and storage as a climate solution. Let me be direct. CCS is not a solution. It is a distraction, one that allows the same industrial systems causing harm to keep operating while new, unproven risks get layered onto communities that have already absorbed too much. The track record on carbon capture projects speaks for itself. Petronova, Kemper Project, and Boundary Dam. Each one fell short of its benchmarks, failed to deliver measurable results, or cost billions with nothing to show for it. And critically, 79% of carbon captured globally is used for enhanced oil recovery, meaning this technology primarily serves to produce more oil. The climate benefit promises quietly funds the opposite. CCS is resource intensive. It can increase a plant's energy use by up to 25% and water consumption by up to 90%, an additional burden on communities that already are under-resourced. Last and most critically, the physical danger posed by CCS cannot be downplayed or ignored. Carbon dioxide infrastructure carries CO2 under high pressure. A rupture can rapidly displace oxygen in the air, and you cannot see or smell it coming. In Satarsha, Mississippi in 2020, a rupture sent dozens of people to the hospital and triggered widespread evacuation. Emergency vehicles stalled. Rescue became nearly impossible. When moisture is present, CO2 forms carbonic acid, corroding infrastructure from the inside. Federal safety standards have not kept pace, and oversight gaps remain alongside weak community notification requirements. What we are describing is not climate progress. It is extraction of public funding, of natural resources, of community health and safety, all without action at the source, protecting public health, restoring our coast, and building clean energy infrastructure that strengthens communities rather than asking them to absorb more risk. We call on state leaders to prioritize the health of Louisiana residents over the past interests of the fossil fuel industry. We reject false solutions that delay progress and deepen inequity. We are not a testing ground. We are a place of culture, history, and resilience, and we deserve better. I'll now turn it over to Kate Lyon O'Neill Hunter, Director of Research and Policy with Rise St. James.
Thank you very much. I'm really glad to be out here with all of my friends and allies who are in this fight together. All of the work that we do is because we care about our home and want to preserve it for our children, future generations, for all we have. Unlike people who work for petrochemical companies who are just in it for the money, just in it for the paycheck. We do it because we care deeply about our home. And we've seen foreign companies trash Louisiana and leave us with the bill time and time again. Polluting industry up and down Cancer Alley has put mercury in our waterways, heavy metals in our soils, and carcinogens into of these burdens and are not able to clean up themselves. Communities closest have suffered most and gained least. Many families have gained generational wealth from oil and gas found on their land. Many families have sent their children to college on the salary of a plant. There have been gains made, but at what cost? What have we lost? What have we lost in our wildlife? What have we lost in our air? What have we lost in our rich soils? That's our true wealth. Our people, our river, our culture, our wildlife, our soil, and our ingenuity. That's our true resources here in Louisiana, not extractive oil and gas. We've been dealing with attacks lately by people who want to question the true science. It's very well established that air pollution and water pollution cause elevated cancer rates in communities closest to pollution. I want to respond to what I heard recently at an air products hearing clear on this. Sure, if you look at a parish as a whole, air pollution, as you average it out, may not be significant, but that's not where plants are placed. Plants are placed closest to historic Black and low-income communities, and if you look at the census tract data, if you look a little bit lower, a smaller data, the people who live closest to these plants absolutely have elevated risks of cancer and other serious harmful diseases. I wish you would stop with your campaign on this because it's pretty easy to shut you down, but if I have to say it again today, Cancer Alley is real. Look at the science. Thank you very much. And I'm passing it over to James Hyatt for a Better Bayou.
Yes, hello. Thank you so much. My name is James Hyatt. I'm from Southwest Louisiana with For a Better Bayou. And today is Earth Day, and what a beautiful is the backdrop to our lives. It is our lives. And here in Louisiana, we feel that more than most. But let's be honest about where we are. We are living in a profound imbalance. We have some of the most fertile soil in the world, some of the sickest communities. We sit at the mouth of the mightiest river on this continent, and we are losing our coast at one of the fastest rates on the planet. We have some of the most hardest working people anywhere. This is the result of decades of choices. And those choices were not made by the people or the community. So today on Earth Day, I want to talk about who is actually making those choices. Talk about outside agitators. I want you to ask yourself, who is actually spending money to shape Louisiana's future? In the last few years alone, Louisiana's Industrial Tax Exemption Program, ITEP, has cost local governments billions of dollars every single year. In Cameron Parish alone, it's almost $1 billion every year for 3 oil and gas companies have spent billions and billions of dollars lobbying not only in Washington, but in petroleum and coal products accounted for another almost 8%. These industries that have polluted our air and water for generations, they don't even pay full property tax. We subsidize them. Our kids go to underfunded schools so that domestic and foreign petrochemical companies can get a tax break. And that is the imbalance we are living. And it doesn't stop there. The billions of dollars that they've spent on federal lobbying dwarfs the amount that environmental organizations have spent. In 2024, the election cycle, the oil and gas industry spent over $219 million to influence the federal government. 88% of that money going to Republican lawmakers. They have armies of lobbyists here in Baton Rouge and Washington to look out for corporate interests, shareholder value, but not for the people that the electeds were put in office to represent. They will tell you that carbon capture is some climate solution. They will dress it up in a green language. Do not be fooled. The federal 45Q tax credit program funnels our tax dollars directly to oil and gas companies for carbon capture. One provision alone unlocked a potential $210 billion. CEO said, this is so good, there's no reason we should stop producing oil and gas forever. That's who carbon capture is for. It's not for the people in the communities, not for the children in St. James. It's another oil and gas subsidy. So on Earth Day, we come back to the same question this land has always asked of us. Who do you serve? Do you serve the companies that have extracted wealth from our soil, our labor, and our lungs for over a century, and now you want billions more in tax credits to keep doing it? Or do you serve this place and this people, this future? Louisiana has long been what analysts call a captured state. An economy so dependent on fossil fuels and petrochemicals that the industry's interests and the government's interests have become the same thing. So here we are today saying that our interests are not the same. We want clean air and clean water and a future for generations to come. And we do not want to continue subsidizing harmful corporations that continue to pollute and destroy our communities. So this is why we're here today. The state, the lawmakers in this building behind us have these halls and in their communities and saying enough is enough. We want a future for our children that is not dependent and harmed by the continued dependency on fossil fuels. Thank you, and I'm going to bring up Ms. Jo Banner from the Descendants Project.
Thank you. My name is Jo Banner. I am the co-founder and co-director of the Descendants Project. I'm based in St. John the Baptist Parish, where my family has been for over 300 years. I'm 10th generation Louisianian, and I love my home. Lieutenant Governor Billy Nungesser and Louisiana Office of Tourism have declared 2026 the year of outdoors in Louisiana. They highlight the state's 7,000 miles of coastline, 21 state parks, and countless waterways, forests, and wildlife habitats calling our outdoors as diverse as they are unforgettable. None Guesser says Sportsman Paradise isn't just a slogan, it's a promise we deliver on every day. In Louisiana, the outdoors aren't just something you see, they're something you feel. The Lieutenant Governor and tourism marketing teams often show us beautiful images of bayous full of wildlife and oak trees covered in moss. But that's not the whole story of the outdoors in Louisiana, is it? Where is it that brings both the scent of magnolias and the smell of bauxite to our yards and into our homes? And there's no mention of the residents stuck inside, too weak to move, making us sick. Our reality doesn't look good in marketing brochures, and it looks even worse now. Flip the script, bragging about the outdoors while refusing to protect it from the polluters who threaten its very existence. Will our elected officials stand up, swamps they brag about? Are our fishing lines really a threat to their pipelines? Will our elected officials stand by so quietly that we can hear the crickets in our landscapes? The fourth largest employer. Yet we gamble with our unique beauty by propping up a fading fossil fuel industry with subsidies and tax breaks. Louisiana has the power to create jobs that safeguard our environment, preserve our culture, and above all, protect people. This path can bring more opportunities and lighten the tax burdens to every household. This weekend marks the 40th anniversary of the Festival International de Louisiana in Lafayette, a festival that brings approximately $50 million to the city every year. Louisiana's Main Street program, which champions historic preservation and building rehabilitation, has created almost 16,000 jobs in that same time period. These progressive ideas weren't generated in an office in New York or California, but in the hearts of Louisianians. Have we invested in our culture and our history? Oil and gas are not our future. At best, it was a boom and bust industry, and now it's mostly bust. Beautiful. But it won't be that way for long unless we truly transition to protect our beloved homes. The only capture that should exist is the beauty that Louisiana captures in our hearts. Thank you.
Good morning, everyone. Name's Justin Soleil, a citizen of the United Homa Nation and organizer for True Transition. I come from a little town called Dulac, Louisiana, about 2 hours south of here, about an hour south of New Orleans. Worked in the oil and gas industry almost 10 years, commercial fisherman my whole life, and before science sees it, because we live it, we're part of it, the water and the land. It's a livable planet are cast aside thousands of workers, their families, and the local economies they support. This is a false choice. 16 years have passed since the BP drilling disaster crippled my community, took the lives of 11 workers, and polluted miles of pristine coastline. There are still 22,000 plus idle wells in our state waters, and only 33 inspectors for those wells. We have the workforce to clean up this forgotten fleet off of our coast. An unknown number that fails to receive press are the lives that were lost to sickness, suicide, and just people giving up and moving. Unless you work in or around the communities that are continually sacrificed to further the progress of industry, the conversation of displacement are not had. The fossil fuel industry has caused a heaping untold suffering across communities and exposing the long-standing structures, policies, and systems that have produced unfair differences in how long and well people live. But we must not that leverages existing knowledge, accelerates implementation, and accelerate we can in this time of upheaval, and we must finish the job.
All right, can we get a round of applause for all of our great speakers today? Thank you all so much. Yeah, we demand a future Louisiana without carbon capture, with opportunity for everybody in the environment. We're all going to retreat over to our covered, shaded area tent over here, and our speakers are going to take questions. we're going to be talking some more about these topics. So we invite everybody who's here behind me and in front of me to come and share in this conversation right over there. Thank you so much.